All right. Uh, Good evening to all. My name is Abhishek Chinchalkar, and I'll be taking today's webinar. First off, is my voice properly audible? Could you just put in the chat window with a yes or no? Great, great, great. I'm getting plenty of yeses. So with that, let's start today's webinar. I'll be talking about classical price patterns in today's webinar. This will be a 3 series webinar. In the next week and in the week following that, we will be continuing with more complex classical price patterns. Today, the agenda today is to introduce the concept of trend, to briefly talk about what support and resistance is, because each of these concepts are crucial towards understanding price patterns better. Then later on, we will talk about a few of the most important classical price patterns that have been in existence since the past several decades. So let us get started with today's webinar. So as I said before, starting towards discussing the various price patterns that we want to introduce, let us first start by talking about trend. As you know, there are primarily three types of trend: the uptrend, the downtrend, and sideways trend. Let us talk about each of these trends now. So we'll start with uptrend. What is an uptrend? Well, an uptrend, as you can see in this visual graphical representation over here, the uptrend is a series of higher highs and higher lows. As you can see in this chart, each new high is above the previous high. So this high, as you can see, is above the first high, and each low is above the previous low. So as you can see, this low over here, which is above this low. So an uptrend is a series wherein price is consistently making higher highs and higher lows. As long as this sequence of higher highs and higher lows prevail, the uptrend is said to be healthy and pretty much intact. Let me briefly talk about what support and resistance is. I've defined my definition of support and resistance. Support is primarily an area on the chart where demand for the security is expected to exceed its supply. If this happens, you can expect price to reverse higher from the support zone. Resistance is the exact opposite of that. Resistance is an area on chart where the supply of the security is likely to exceed the demand for that security, which in turn causes the rally to end and for price to probably reverse lower. So let me explain support and resistance in the context of this chart. So once the price has rallied and from there it has reversed lower, the highest point in that rally marks a resistance, and the lowest point in that rally marks the support. As you can see, price fell from here and it reversed from here. So now this region became became the new support. Going forward, if price takes resistance at the previous peak and reverses lower from there, then it is said that the resistance is successfully held because the forces of supply have exceeded the forces of demand, which causes price to move lower. However, if a resistance is broken, then it indicates that demand at that particular price level was very strong and it exceeded the supply, because of which the resistance is broken. Once the resistance breaks, price is expected to continue higher. So a break above resistance is a bullish sign. It signals that price is likely to continue higher. in this case, because we are in an uptrend, the resistances, the former resistances are being broken. As you can see, this resistance was broken somewhere over here, and this resistance was broken somewhere over here. So resistances are being broken in an uptrend, but the support is not broken. As you can see, none of the prior support broke during this uptrend. So an uptrend is a series wherein price breaks above the prior resistance, but it does not break below the prior support. And that is how an uptrend continues. This is how an uptrend looks like on a real-time chart. Now, this is the hourly chart of Nifty. Starting from this point, as you can see, prices started to trend higher. So this is the candle charts. So as you can see, there are numerous candles in this particular chart. And broadly, you can see that from this point, the price has trended higher. So there has been rally, then minor correction, then the rally resumed again and broke above its prior high or prior resistance, went up, came down. This was the previous support that was never broken, rallied again, broke the previous resistance. So at this point in time, this resistance was broken, and that is how the uptrend is continuing. Now, the opposite of uptrend is a downtrend. A downtrend is a sequence where its price is making lower highs and lower lows. So as you can see in this chart, each new low falls below the previous low. That is, this low, if you can see, has fallen below this low. But each new high does not rise or cross above the prior high. So in this case, if you see, this high is below this high, and this high is below this high. So you have a sequence of lower highs and lower lows. As long as this sequence of lower highs and lower lows continue, the downtrend is said to be intact. Now, an alternative way of looking at downtrend is that in a downtrend, as you can see, former supports are being broken. So this particular support was broken here, and this particular support was broken here. However, the rallies or the resistances are not broken. So this resistance over here, and this resistance over here, and this resistance, none of them were broken going forward in time. So that is how a downtrend looks like. As long as the sequence of as long as the sequence of lower highs and lower lows prevail, the downtrend is said to be intact. Now, this is a downtrend in action. This is the 2-hourly chart of Steel Authority of India. You can clearly see over here that the price of Steel Authority has been heading consistently lower. It's consistently making a sequence of lower highs and lower lows. Each new high is failing to reach the previous high, but each new low is breaking below its previous low. So we have a nice healthy downtrend over here. As long as the sequence remains intact, the downtrend is pretty much in existence. The third type of trend is something that's called a sideways trend. So it is a trend in which the price is neither moving higher nor moving lower. So as you can see, a sideways trend is characterized by uneven peaks and uneven draws. So it represents a price action wherein net nothing much is happening. Neither are the resistances being convincingly broken, nor are the supports being convincingly broken. So essentially, you see prices moving in a lateral or a sideways range. Now, if you talk about an uptrend reflects a situation in which the bulls are in control, that is, the buyers are in control. A downtrend reflects a situation wherein the sellers are pretty much in control. And finally, a sideways trend represents a situation in which neither the buyers or the bulls, nor the sellers or the bears are in control. So it indicates uncertainty. This is the daily chart of the dollar rupee exchange rate. It's the spot chart. So after the initial rally, as you can see from this point to this point, for the next several months, starting from early September of 2019 right till mid-February, so for almost like 6-7 months, the dollar rupee exchange rate was in a very lateral range. So it consolidated between 72 half on the upside and 70 half on the downside. So it was consolidating in this 2-point range for almost 6 months. So it represented a scenario wherein neither the bulls nor the bears were able to gain an upper hand over the other. So broadly speaking, there are three types of trend in markets. One is the uptrend, which is a sequence of higher high and higher lows. Next is the downtrend, which is a sequence of lower highs and lower lows. And the third and the final is the sideways trend, in which the price is neither trending up nor is it trending down. So it's in a lateral range. Now, as you know, trends do not continue forever. So if an uptrend is in existence, at some point or the other, it will reverse. It will not keep going up for infinity. It will reverse after some point in time. Same is the case with downtrend. After some point in time, the downtrend will end as the sellers will eventually get exhausted, and the buyers, sensing that the price of the security is quite attractive, they'll start buying. So at some point in time, the downtrend will end. Same logic applies to a sideways trend also. A sideways trend cannot continue forever. At some point in time, either the bulls will take control of the price and push prices higher, or the bears will take control of the price and push prices lower. Now, essentially speaking, there are a total of 6 ways in which a trend can change, and each of those ways is mentioned over here. One is reversal from uptrend to downtrend, then reversal from downtrend to uptrend. Third is continuation of uptrend following a consolidation. The fourth is continuation of downtrend following a consolidation. Fifth is reversal of uptrend following consolidation. And the sixth and last is reversal of downtrend following consolidation. We'll speak in detail about each of these, but before that, let us talk about quite an important principle in technical analysis, which is called the change of polarity principle. Just one moment, let me have a sip of water. Yeah, so let us talk about what is change of polarity principle. As you can see in this particular case, after this decline, the price consolidated in this band, wherein the resistance is being held well, and so is the support being held well. But after a certain point in time, the resistance broke. So the buyers were able to finally get the better of sellers, and they pushed prices above the former resistance. From there, the price rallied, and then it started drifting lower. However, if you see, price took support at the prior resistance. So it touched the prior resistance, and from there it reversed sharply higher. Then you have two identical peaks that formed at essentially the same level, and then this prior support in that case was eventually broken. Now, what you can glean from this chart is when the resistance broke, going forward in time, it became a resistance. So initially, at this point in time, this particular level was acting as resistance. The price was not able to cross above that. Over here, the price finally managed to move above that. But going forward in time, when the price started drifting lower, this region acted as support now. So there is a change of role. The resistance, a former resistance, now became support. That is nothing but change of polarity principle. What change of polarity principle states is that when a resistance is broken, going forward in time, that resistance tends to become support. By the same logic, when a support is broken, going forward in time, that support tends to break. That support tends to become a resistance. So you can look at this particular scenario, although the chart doesn't reveal it. Over here, support was broken and price drifted lower. If price starts coming higher going forward in time, then you can expect this particular support region to act as resistance going forward. That is what change of polarity principle is all about. So concluding about this, change of polarity principle states that when a resistance breaks, going forward in time, it converts to support. Similarly, when a support breaks, going forward in time, it becomes resistance. Let us look at how that looks on a real-time chart. Now, this is the daily chart of the Nifty 50 index. So initially, as you can see, price was pretty much sideways. So for up to this point, there was nothing much happening in Nifty. Now, if any of you attended my previous webinar on Japanese candlesticks, you will recollect that this particular candle over here represents a doji, wherein the opening price is equal to the closing price. And if you combine these three candles, this one followed by doji, followed by this, you have an evening star pattern, which is a 3 candlestick bearish pattern. From here, as you can see, price corrected lower and then started rallying. Eventually, this particular resistance over here was broken with a very convincing candle. So you had a very bullish candle. So that signaled that this particular consolidation has ended. Bulls have taken control of the market, and going forward in time, we could see higher prices in case of Nifty, which is what happened. It rallied nicely. From there it fell, but look at what happened over here. This particular region, which was a resistance, became a support at this particular point in time. So after this steep fall, for almost like 4 days, Nifty consolidated near this former resistance, took support at that former resistance, and then started going higher. So see how well a former resistance converted itself to support going forward in time. From here, price rallied, again started drifting lower. However, this time it broke below its previous low, which was formerly a resistance. So at this point in time, this support was broken. And if you go further backward, that support is nothing but resistance. From there, it fell, recovered, took resistance at that former support, fell again, recovered, again took resistance at that former support, fell, and then recovered, but this time a very strong bullish candle formed. This one candle you can see over here is a very tall bullish candle that formed with very strong volume. So that was a sign that bulls have again taken control of the markets. From there it rallied, came down, but again if you see that former area is again acting as support. So within this particular 7 to 8 month window, look at how this particular area acted as sometimes resistance, sometimes support, and so forth. So in markets, it is commonly said that price has memory, and this chart kind of proves it. So this was the first time that level was tested in the form of resistance. Later, it acted as support. Over here, it became resistance again, and going further forward in time, it again became a support. So there are multiple times when the support and resistances were changing their roles. So whenever you look at charts on a real-time basis, always keep a close eye on prior support and resistance levels. Often they tend to act as very important levels moving forward in time. Now that we understand the change of polarity principle, let us talk about the 6 ways in which the trend changes direction. So here you have a series of higher highs and higher lows, which is nothing but an uptrend. So price was in a nice uptrend. As you can see, each high was crossing above the previous high, but each low was not breaking below the previous low. So the uptrend is very much in existence. Over here, you had the first sign of trouble. Price did not make a new high. That is, price did not break this high and started drifting lower. And as it started drifting lower, the former support, which is this point, was broken. So after the sequence of higher highs and higher lows, you have a first sequence of lower high, which is this point, and lower low. That tells you that the uptrend has reversed. And then, as you can see, that uptrend reversed into a downtrend. You had a series of lower highs and lower lows going forward in time. So as long as that series of lower highs and lower lows remain intact, that the downtrend is said to be healthy and strong. So when do you get a sign that the uptrend is weakening? When the sequence of higher highs and higher lows breaks. So first, you'll get a sequence wherein price fails to cross the previous peak. So that's the first sign that maybe the uptrend is in a pretty advanced stage. As price failed to cross the previous high, you have first signs of trouble. Confirmation of a change in trend comes when price breaks the prior low. So when you have the first sequence of lower high and lower low, that is when you get confirmation that this uptrend has ended and possibly the downtrend has started. So this is what a reversal from uptrend to downtrend looks like. The exact opposite of that is reversal from downtrend to uptrend. In the first half of this chart, you can see that price was in a sequence of lower highs and lower lows. It was consistently making lower highs and lower lows. The first sign of trouble emerged at this point in time. So for the first time in this sequence of lower highs and lower lows, price has made a higher low, because at this particular point, the low did not break below the previous low. So you have a higher low in place. If going forward, the previous high is broken, that would signal at a change, that would signal at a reversal of this downtrend. So as you can see, going forward in time, the previous high was indeed broken. So that was a confirmation that this downtrend has ended. And because price is now, you have a first sequence of higher low and higher high over here. From there, price corrected lower, did not break below the previous low, which was this point. So from this point, price reversed and then broke its previous high. So at this particular point in time, you have two higher highs and two higher lows. So that indicates that the trend has changed from down to up. When you get a second higher high and a second higher low, you have confirmation that the downtrend has reversed to uptrend. And as long as this sequence of higher highs and higher lows prevail, the uptrend is said to be pretty much intact. However, not always does an uptrend reverse into a downtrend. Sometimes, after a strong rally, price could take a pause for a brief period of time before resuming in its prior direction. And that is what this chart shows. Initially, the first 1/3 of the chart shows you a sequence wherein the price is making higher highs and higher lows. That sequence broke at this particular point in time. So as you can see, for this brief period, price is neither making higher high nor is it consistently making lower low. So you have a lateral band wherein neither the bulls nor the bears are in control. So in the first 1/3 of the chart, the bulls were in control, and in the next 1/3 of the chart, neither the bulls nor the bears were in control. But as you can see, this lateral band eventually broke over here. So this band broke over here. From there, there was a brief rally. Price corrected, but then again started trending higher. The moment this high is broken, it confirms that the prior uptrend has resumed, because for a second consecutive case, you have a higher high in place. So this was the first higher high following this consolidation. And then over here, when this high is broken, you have a second higher high. So that's a confirmation that the former uptrend has resumed following a brief period of sideways consolidation. So then, as you can see, price is consistently making higher highs and higher lows. The opposite of this would be continuation of downtrend following consolidation. So oftentimes it happens that after a nice and steady decline in price, the sellers take a pause for a brief period of time, which could last from few days to few weeks, as the case may be. And then the selling resumes again, which is what this chart shows. initially the first one third of the chart shows you a sequence of lower highs and lower lows. So it tells you that the sellers are in control. However, following this lower highs and lower lows, price then started consolidating within a lateral band. So net during this time, neither the sellers nor the bulls were in control, and it represented a situation wherein the market is taking a pause. However, you get first sign of downtrend resumption when price breaks below this lateral band. So as you can see, when price managed to break this lateral band, you had first sign that the downtrend is again resuming. From there, after making a new low, price rallied, did not cross about its previous low. If you see, it did not even reach the level of the previous high. I'm sorry, of the previous high. Price did not reach the level of the previous high. From there, it started correcting lower again, and this time it again broke below its previous low. So for a second consecutive time, you have a lower low in place. So that tells you that the downtrend has resumed. So the moment uh, a low is broken for a second consecutive time, you have confirmation that the prior downtrend has resumed. So following this decline, there was a lateral band trading wherein price consolidated within a relatively narrow range, and then the selling resumed again. So this is nothing but continuation of downtrend following a brief period of consolidation. The last two ways in which the trend reverses is reversal of uptrend following consolidation. So what happens is that after a strong rally wherein price consistently made higher highs and higher lows, indicating that the bulls or the buyers are in total domination, there comes a period wherein price starts consolidating in a sideways range. So following the sequence of higher highs and higher lows, you have a sequence of even highs and even lows. So the lows are more or less similar to the previous low, and the highs are more or less similar to the previous high. So it represents consolidation. So it probably tells you that either the buyers could be taking a pause before continuing the rally again, or maybe the buyers are exhausted and sellers could gain a footing going forward. Until there are definitive signs, of course, you can't say which way the trend is going to go going forward in time, whether is it going to continue higher or whether it will reverse lower. So you have to patiently wait to see what happens. But as you can see, price managed to break below the low of this lateral band over here. So over here you have first signs of indication that this uptrend and this consolidation has ended and we could see lower prices. However, you just have a signal, but there is no confirmation as such. For that, you have to wait for more time. So this price broke below this lateral range. From there, it made a low and rallied higher. However, as you can see, this time price did not manage to reach its prior peak. So this was the prior peak. Price didn't even come close to that. It made a lower high. From there, it reversed lower and broke this low. So the moment this low was broken, you have definitive evidence that this uptrend has ended and price has started to trend lower. So you had a scenario wherein bulls were in control, then neither the bulls nor the bears were in control, and finally now the bears have taken the upper hand. So as you can see, the sideways trend has reversed. The sideways trend has rather ended, and you have a sequence of lower highs and lower lows indicating that the sellers are in control of the market. Finally, an existing downtrend following a period of consolidation could reverse, and a new uptrend could resume. So over here, the first one third of the chart, you can see that price is in a consistent downtrend as it is making lower highs and lower lows. This downtrend has then aborted and a sideways trend has started. So during this period, you can see prices neither consistently making higher highs nor is it consistently making lower lows. So you have a lateral kind of trading over here. At this point in time, as you can see, price managed to break above that lateral zone. So you have first signal that maybe this sideways trend has ended and we could see the beginning of a new uptrend. Having said that, at this point in time, it's just a signal but not a confirmation. To get confirmation, you need to wait for a few period of time. So let's continue our discussion from here. Once the high of the lateral range broke, price managed to rise. From there, it fell again and reversed higher. But this time, the low that was made was well above the previous low. So you have a higher low. From there, price started rallying. The moment price crosses the previous resistance, which is this, there you will have confirmation that this downtrend followed by lateral trend has ended and a new uptrend has started. And that is what happened over here. At this particular point in time, this high was surpassed, indicating break of resistance. And because you have two consecutive higher highs, it signals that the trend has shifted first from down to sideways and then to up. So this is how a downtrend ends, following a brief period of consolidation. So initial trend was down, that downtrend converted to sideways trend, and then price started trading higher after breaking out of that sideways trend. So these are the 6 ways in which a trend could change. Now, either a trend could reverse from up to down, or it could reverse from down to up. Sometimes a trend could reverse, an uptrend could reverse first into a sideways trend and then into a downtrend, or a downtrend could reverse first into a sideways trend and then into an uptrend. And finally, sometimes you could also have a continuation of prior trend. So if the prior trend is up, then there is a brief period of consolidation, and that prior trend resumes again once the consolidation ends. This is what the classical price patterns are all about. Uh, Classical price patterns can broadly be split into two parts. One is reversal patterns, which indicate at a reversal in trend from up to down or from down to up. Other is continuation. Others are continuation pattern. Continuation price patterns signal that after consolidation, the prior trend could resume. So before entering into a consolidation, if the prior trend is up, then once that consolidation ends, the prior trend will again, the prior uptrend will again resume, and so forth. So broadly speaking, again, reiterating, classical price patterns can be split into two components. One is reversal price patterns and other is continuation price patterns. Reversal price patterns are those that indicate a change in trend from up to down or down to up. On the other hand, continuation price patterns are those patterns that signal continuation of prior trend following a brief period of consolidation. In the remainder of this webinar, I'll be talking about 3 patterns. These are double top and double bottom, triple top and triple bottom, and finally head and shoulder top and head and shoulder pattern. These are some of the most popular and widely eyed patterns in technical analysis. So if someone is new to technical analysis and has just started looking at charts, these 3 patterns are the ones that that anyone can easily monitor or look at the chart. It's easy to catch when you visually look at the chart. So let us start with a double top first. A double top is a bearish reversal pattern. It appears after a sequence of higher highs and higher lows. That is, it appears near the end of an uptrend. So as you can see, price is consistently making higher highs and higher lows. It made a high at this point in time, randomly called that high at 100.2. So after making a high at 100.2, from there it started falling, made a low at 94, reversed higher. However, the prior resistance was not convincingly broken. So the prior resistance was 100.2. It just touched it, made a high of 100.5, and then started drifting lower again. So at this point in time, somewhere over here, you can see that essentially speaking, there are two peaks that are occurring at essentially the same level. Now that's not a good sign, because in an uptrend, you would want to see higher highs. You would want to see consistently higher highs being made. But over here, you have a sequence wherein the final high is at essentially the same level as the previous high. So this is a sign that maybe the uptrend is ending. Going forward in time, if the prior low is broken, which is 94, if that low is broken, then that completes the double top pattern and signals at a reversal in trend from up to down. So once this 94, which is the intervening low, once that is broken, then it signals that going forward in time you could see lower prices. You could also draw a neckline. So from from this intervening low, which is 94, you could draw a horizontal neckline and extend it forward in time, because it becomes easier to analyze when price is breaking below that neckline. So the moment price breaks below that neckline, it completes the double top pattern and signals that we could see lower prices moving forward. Now, how do you calculate the price objective for a double top pattern? It's very simple. What you do is you calculate the distance, the vertical distance between one of the two peaks and the intervening low. And that distance you subtract from that neckline or the intervening low. So for instance, the first peak was 100.2, the second peak was 100.5, and the neckline was 94. So what I'll do is I'll calculate the distance between 100.5 and 94, which is 6.5, and that 6.5 I'll subtract from the neckline of 94. So this will be the projection. This is called the minimum price objective of the double top pattern. So once 94 breaks, and when I initiate a short position, the minimum target that I'm looking forward to is 87.5. That's the minimum target. It could go much lower below that also, but this is the minimum price objective. So briefly recapping, a double top pattern is a pattern in which you have two identical lows which are roughly at more or less the same level, and those two intervening tops are interspersed by an intervening low. So these two tops, 100.2 and 100.5, is interspersed by this intervening low at 94. Once the neckline breaks, you could sell, and this will be the minimum price objective of the pattern, the vertical distance between the peak and the neckline, which is then subtracted from the neckline to arrive at the minimum price objective. We will talk about stop losses later towards the end of this presentation. So for now, just focus on the price objective. So this is the double top pattern explained, which is what we spoke about earlier. Now this is how a double top looks like on a real-time chart. Now this is the daily chart of Bharti Airtel. So after this nice rally, price made a top. So that's your first top. From there it declined. From there it started rallying again, but this time it didn't make a new high. So you can see the two highs at more or less identical levels. From there it started drifting lower. So you have indications that maybe the uptrend is weakening. However, you should not act, that is, you should not sell as long as this intervening low, that is, as long as price does not break below this neckline. However, as you can see, going forward in time, price managed to break below that neckline, which completed the double top pattern. Once the neckline is broken, you can calculate the price objective of this pattern by measuring the vertical distance between the top and the neckline and subtracting that from the neckline. So this was this green shadow over here. The low of that represents the minimum price objective of this pattern. And as you can see, uh, price fell sharply going forward in time, and that minimum price objective was attained. What is important to notice is how is the volume panning out on the break. So when price is breaking below the neckline, you need to pay careful attention to volume. If there is an increase in volume, then that is a strong signal that sellers are taking control of the market. So if this breakdown is accompanied by an expansion in volume, then it increases your confidence that this particular pattern could work very well. So do pay attention to what volume is telling you on the break. Is the volume expanding? If yes, then it indicates at a strong break. But if the volume is not expanded, then maybe you could wait for a few period of time to see whether the break is genuine or not. So this is the double top. The exact opposite of that is something that's called double bottom. In double bottom, you have two identical bottoms that occur at roughly the same level, and those two bottoms are interspersed by an intervening high. So as you can see, these two bottoms are separated by an intervening high. I've randomly called the first bottom at 1000 rupees, the intervening high at 1080, and the second bottom at 997. Once the price start reverse from 997 and approach the neckline, once that neckline breaks, the double bottom pattern completes. How do you calculate the target? Again, the same way. You calculate the vertical distance between the two bottoms and the neckline, and that distance you add to the neckline. So as you can see, the vertical distance between the neckline, which is 1080, and the bottom, say 997, that vertical distance is roughly 83 points. 1080 minus 997, that 83 points you'll add to 1080, which is 116. So that is your minimum price objective of this pattern. So double bottom, as we spoke, it is a bullish reversal pattern that appears at the end of a downtrend. You have two identical bottoms at roughly the same level that are interspersed by an intervening high. Once price breaks above that intervening high, going forward in time, it completes the double bottom pattern, and you can buy on the breakout with this particular price target. Now this is how a double bottom looks like on real time chart. This is a daily chart of Infratel. So after this decline in price, it rallied, made a high, started declining again, made a low, started reversing again. Now as you can see, the second low is more or less near the first low itself. Price started rallying from there, and then as you can see over here, price is breaking out on this particular candle. It's a very tall bullish candle. So the emergence of such a tall bullish candle on breakout, along with a tremendous expansion in volume, that gives you a very strong signal that going forward in time, price could rally sharply. And as we can see, price did indeed rally very sharply. So this was a very classic double bottom pattern. Both the bottoms were at essentially the same level, and the breakout from that pattern is being accompanied by a very bullish candle, as well as by a very strong expansion in volume. So it's a very strong buy signal. The minimum objective of this pattern was the vertical distance between the bottom and the neckline, which is later on added to the neckline. So this was the target, and as you can see, it was achieved because this is a daily chart. It was achieved in a month or so. So this was a very nice move. So as you can see, the breakout occurred somewhere around 325, and the price target of that pattern was approximately 380. So it was a very nice, 15-16% kind of move that was signaled by this pattern. a thing that I would like to add is that price patterns are applicable across all the time frames. So you can apply it on monthly charts, you can apply it on weekly charts, daily charts, hourly charts, minute charts, etc. It's applicable on all time frames. Now, depending upon the time frames, the price objective could be bigger or smaller. So if you're looking at say 5 minute chart, if you spot a double bottom on price minute on 5 minute chart, then the price objective of that would be smaller than say spotting a double bottom on the daily chart. So the larger the time frame, the larger will be the target, and so will be the risk. So you need to keep that in mind. The important thing to recollect is that classical price patterns are applicable across all the time frames. So they work as well on say weekly chart as they do on say even a 1 minute or a 5 minute chart. So you could apply it across time frames. So of course, if you are an intraday trader, then you'd be looking more at say 5 minute chart or 10 minute chart or 15 minute chart or so on. If you're more of a positional trader who would like to catch, anywhere between say 15% or 20% type moves, then you'd be looking at daily charts. And if you're a long-term trader who would like to catch say 40-50% type moves, then you should be looking at the weekly or the monthly chart. So now let us talk about triple top. This is an extension of double top. So instead of two identical tops, you have three identical tops. Similarly, instead of one intervening low, you have two intervening lows. So triple top is a bearish reversal pattern that appears near the end of an uptrend. You have three tops that are occurring at more or less the same level, and those three tops are separated by two intervening lows. The important thing is that those intervening lows should also be at roughly the same level. Exactly is not necessary, but it should be at identical levels. So as again, I've randomly expressed numbers over here. So the first top is occurring at 500, the second top is occurring at 501, and the third top is occurring at 503. The first intervening low is occurring at 460 and the second is at 461. Once price breaks below the neckline, you can initiate a short position. And when you initiate a short position, how do you calculate your target? It's again same logic. You calculate the vertical distance between the high and the neckline, and then you subtract that vertical distance from the neckline. So this distance, which is 503 minus 460, that will be subtracted from the neckline of 460. So your price objective in this particular case was 417. So the breakdown, that is the sell signal, was generated at somewhere around 460, and the minimum price objective of the pattern is 417. You could either, if the trade plays out as expected, you could either exit your trade at 417, or you could even decide to keep lower targets. That depends on your risk to reward ratio. So yeah, so a triple top is a bearish reversal pattern that appears after a rally in price. You have three peaks at essentially the same level, and those three peaks are separated by two intervening lows. An important thing to keep in mind about triple tops as well as about triple bottoms is that the peaks need not essentially occur at exactly the same level. So some form of leeway you should always allow. So look at this particular chart. It's a daily chart of Canara Bank. So the first top was made over here following a nice rally in price. From there it fell, rallied again, fell. It briefly broke this neckline, but it never sustained below that neckline. So this was more like a false sell signal that was generated. As you can see, at this point in time, it looked like this is a double top breakdown. But the thing to note over here is that price opened with a gap down, but for this particular day, there was no true selling. After opening with a gap down, it rallied to close back above the neckline. From there, price rallied again. So you have three peaks that are occurring at more or less the same level. From there, price fell, and then there is an eventual breakdown from this pattern. You could also look at the volume. When this breakdown occurred, there was a nice expansion in volume. So the volume is strong. So it tells you that this pattern could work out. How you would calculate the price objective of this pattern? It's the vertical distance between the peak and the bottom, that is the neckline, and that vertical distance is then subtracted from the neckline. So this is the minimum price objective. As you can see, not only was the minimum price objective met, but price fell very sharply going forward in time. The opposite of that is a triple bottom pattern. It's a bullish reversal pattern that appears near the end of a downtrend. What happens over here is that you have three identical draws that are separated by two intervening highs, and once price breaks above the two intervening high, the the triple bottom pattern is completed, and you could buy by keeping a price objective. So when price breaks above the neckline, it suggests to you that you should be buying that particular security. Again, you calculate your targets similarly. You calculate the vertical distance between the bottom and the neckline, and that distance you add to the neckline to arrive at the minimum price objective. So this is the daily chart of Nestle India. So after a very nice decline in price, first bottom was made. From there, it recovered and made an intervening high. It fell again, bounced right off the first bottom, again took resistance at the former at the former resistance level. From there, it fell again and started rising again. So as you can see, you have three bottoms that are essentially occurring at the same level, and also you have two intervening highs that are also occurring at roughly the same level. So from once price breaks above the neckline on the third attempt, if it's accompanied by expansion in volume, it tells you that this triple bottom pattern is complete, and tells you that you should be buying. How would you set the targets? Shown over here. You calculate the vertical distance between the bottom and the neckline, and you add it to the neckline. So as you can see, that target was achieved just in like 4 or 5 days. Not only that, price rallied sharply going forward. So this is how a triple bottom pattern looks like. Finally, we'll talk about one of the most common and one of a strongly reliable pattern that's called head and shoulder. A head and shoulder top is a bearish reversal pattern that appears near the end of an uptrend. So you have one high over here. From there, price reversed, came lower, it rallied again, made a new high, came down again it rallied, but this time price is not breaking the former high. From there, it started declining again. Now, as you can see, the reason why this is called a head and shoulder is because you have a head, which is the highest point in the pattern, and that head is separated by two lower highs around it. So this is called the left shoulder, this is the head, and this is the right shoulder. Now, each of the shoulder must be below the high of the head for this pattern to remain valid. And going forward in time, when the neckline of the pattern, now what is the neckline? Neckline is nothing but a line that is drawn connecting the two intervening lows. Once price breaks below that line, it tells you that the head and shoulder top pattern is complete and signals you to sell the security. Now, how do you calculate the price objective of this pattern? You measure the vertical distance from the high of the head to the neckline, and then you subtract that distance from the neckline. So that will be your minimum price objective. So in this particular case, the high of the head is at 520 and the neckline is at more or less 460. So you'll calculate the distance between 520 and 460, which is 60 points. And then you'll subtract it from the neckline of 460 to get a price objective of 400. Now, this is a scenario wherein the neckline is horizontal. However, there are two other variants of head and shoulder top. One that has a neckline that is sloping upwards, and other that has a neckline that is sloping downwards. So when you look at real-time charts, a head and shoulder top could emerge in one of the three ways. Number one is that the neckline is horizontal, meaning the two intervening lows are essentially at the same level. The other is that the neckline is upward sloping, meaning the second low is above the first low. And the third is that the neckline is downward sloping, meaning the second low is well below the first low. So you need to be aware of this. Now this is a daily chart of Bajaj Auto. So after a very strong rally in price, you can see a very nice head and shoulder pattern that formed. Look at the high of the head. It's above the high of the left shoulder, which is this, as well as above the high of the right shoulder, which is this. It's a very nice classic head and shoulder. The breakdown occurred somewhere over here. So you would be selling at this particular point in time when the breakdown occurs. Now here you have an example of a neckline that's upward sloping. So as you can see, you can calculate, once the break occurs, you can calculate the price objective of the pattern, which will be the minimum price objective, and project it going forward. So this was the price objective of the pattern, and that was achieved within few days. In fact, the price declined very sharply. Keep in mind that whenever a head and shoulder appears near the culmination of an uptrend, the decline can be very swift and powerful going forward in time. Now there is another head and shoulder that formed over here. Now this I've added purposely to show that you should not be trading a head and shoulder until price breaks below the neckline. As you can see, you have left shoulder, you have head, you have right shoulder, but price never managed to break below the neckline. Instead, it went higher and even broke above the head. So it's very important that you wait for the break to occur. Only when the neckline is broken is the time when you should be buying or selling. In this particular case, selling, because it's a bearish pattern. Now the opposite of that is head and shoulder bottom. This is the final pattern in today's webinar. A head and shoulder bottom appears near the end of a downtrend, and it is a bullish reversal pattern. This is the first of the three lows. It is above the next low, and this low has to be below this low. So basically what you have is a head and shoulder that is turned upside down. This is the first low, which is nothing but the left shoulder. This is the second low as well as the lowest low in this pattern. And this is the third low, which is above the second low. Going forward in time, if price manages to break above the neckline, which connects the two intervening highs, it tells you that you should be buying this security. Again, the price objective is calculated using similar logic. It's the vertical distance between the low of the head and the neckline, which is then added to the neckline. So in this particular case, you would calculate the vertical distance between the neckline, which is 1060, and the low of the head, which is 980. So 1060 minus 980 is 80 points. That 80 points you'll add to the neckline of 1060 to give you a minimum price objective of 1140. Again, a head and shoulder bottom has three variants. In the first slide, we talked about a head and shoulder bottom that has a horizontal neckline. You could have a head and shoulder bottom that has a downward sloping neckline, as well as a head and shoulder bottom that has an upward sloping neckline. So you should be aware of this. We've already talked about the details of the head and shoulder bottom. So let's look at the final chart in this webinar. Now this is a daily chart of BEL. This is the most recent chart. So after this very powerful downtrend, you have a low over here. From there, price fell and broke the previous low, which is this point. From there, it rallied. This time it made a higher low. So you have a sequence wherein the middle low is the lowest low, and around it are two higher lows. So this is the left higher low, and this is the right higher low. And this is the neckline, which connects the two intervening highs, that is this point and this point. You extend it forward. Once price broke above the neckline is the time to buy. And as you can see, there was a very nice expansion in volume also when the breakout occurred. So that was a very strong signal to be buying this security. The price objective of this pattern was this much, which is nothing but the vertical distance between the low and the low of the head and the neckline, which is then added to the neckline. So the price objective of that pattern was this, which was achieved within a few days. Again, you would be wanting to see how the volume is evolving. If the break is accompanied by an expansion in volume, your conviction to trade will be much higher than if the break was accompanied by less volume. So how do you enter a pattern once the break of the neckline occurs? Well, there are various ways. One is that you trade immediately when price breaks the neckline. Now, this is the most riskiest method. Second is you wait to see whether volume is expanding on the break. So if there is an expansion in volume, then you would be trading. Otherwise, you'll wait to see more clues. The third way of entering a pattern break is to use a closing price filter. So you would not buy or sell immediately after the pattern is broken, but rather you'd wait for the closing of that candle or bar, uh, you know, to be above the neckline in case of a buy pattern, or below the neckline in case of a sell pattern. So you'll wait for uh, the candle to close before deciding to either buy or sell. The fourth method is to use a percent filter method. So what you do is when price breaks a neckline of a particular pattern, you would not buy or sell immediately, but you'll use a percent filter. Say you would buy in case after the breakout price rallies 1 or 1.5%, or you would sell after a breakdown in case the price falls 1 or 1.5% from the neckline. So you use a percent filter. Finally, you can also use a time filter. That is, what you'll do over here is that you will wait for a few minutes, or you'll wait for a few hours, or you might also wait for 1 or 2 days before deciding to buy or sell. So these are the ways in which you could enter a trade following the pattern breaks the neckline. You could either decide to buy or sell immediately, or you could see or you could wait to see how the volume is panning out. That is, you would decide to buy or sell if there is an expansion in volume, or you could wait for closing above or below the neckline, or you could use a price filter and only decide to buy or sell if price is rallied a certain percent above the neckline, or price is declined a certain percent below the neckline. Finally, you could use a time filter. That is, you'd buy or sell only after a few candles or bars have elapsed. And what will be the stop loss? Well, talking about the stop loss, there are three ways in which you could set your stop loss. The first way of setting your stop loss would be, once the price breaks above, let me show this using a real life example. That will be much simpler to understand. Let's talk about this particular pattern, inverse head and shoulder breakout on the daily chart of BEL. So how would I how would I put a stop loss? The first way is this: when the breakout occurs, I will buy, and I will place a stop loss below the low of the bar that precedes the breakout bar. So the breakout bar is this, because this is the bar that is taking price above the neckline. So this is a breakout bar. The bar that immediately precedes the breakout bar is this long green, or this long bullish bar. I will place a stop loss below this point. So I'll place a stop loss somewhere over here and buy on the breakout. As long as that stop loss is not hit, I will hold on to my position, which I might either exit at my target price or wait for further price rally. So this is the first way in which you could place your stop loss. That is, in case of a buy position, you would place a stop loss one bar that immediately precedes the breakout bar. The opposite is also true in case of a sell signal. The second way of placing a stop loss is to use a Fibonacci retracement ratio. So something like 50% or 61.8% you could select. So again, going back to this pattern, as you can see, the width of this pattern, that is the distance between the neckline and the low of the head, is this much. I could calculate what is the 50% retracement of this entire, this entire vertical move. So the 50% retracement comes somewhere over here. The 61% comes slightly lower, somewhere over here. So I could decide to place stop loss somewhere over here, either at the 50% retracement of this vertical distance or at the 61% retracement of this vertical distance. Now that's placing a stop loss on the basis of Fibonacci ratios. The third and final stop loss is placing a stop loss below the low of the pattern. Now this is a least preferred method because the stop loss tends to be very low. So if you talk about this particular pattern, using the third method, you could place a stop loss below the low of the head. But as you can see, that would be a very big stop loss. So in case the pattern does not work out as expected and price reverses, your stop loss would be very big. So this is the least preferred. This is something that I would not recommend. My personal favorite is the first one. That is, you'd place a stop loss one bar before the breakout bar. That is my personal favorite. But if you are slightly conservative, you could decide to place it at the 50% retracement of this vertical distance. Now, this applies to double top and bottom, triple top and bottom, as well as to head and shoulder top and bottom. So that is how you could place your stop losses. So you could look at this later if you want to in the recording of this video. Then finally, I've also talked about the cheat sheet, which we have more or less discussed. Of the 6 patterns that we talked about today, head and shoulder top and head and shoulder bottom are my favorite because number one, they appear frequently, and number two, whenever they appear after a nice rally or decline, they tend to work very well. So I would give them a rating of 8.5 out of 10. These are among the 6 patterns that we studied today, head and shoulder top and head and shoulder bottom are my personal favorite. That said, double tops and double bottoms also tend to work well. Triple tops and triple bottoms, however, are quite rare, but whenever they do appear, they tend to work out very well. That's it from my end. Before concluding, just for a couple of minutes, what I would do is, I would, now that you know what a double top and bottom, what a triple top and bottom, and what a head and shoulder top and bottom patterns are, you could go to our Fires web platform, and you could try to scan each of the 6 patterns that we discussed today. So let us say I'm in the Nifty 50 universe. So let me randomly pick out a chart. This is a chart, daily chart of Adani Ports. So let us randomly go behind to see if a particular pattern is forming. Let me put this down. Nothing great in this. Let us look at, say, Axis Bank. Let me just reset. I'm just quickly scanning, so I could miss out on a few patterns. But what you could do is you could, over the weekend or until the next webinar, you could scan the prior history of charts and try to spot patterns that we have discussed in today's webinar. So over here, for instance, I can spot an inverse head and shoulder type pattern. So this is the inverse head and shoulder, although not a classic one because the trend line is upward sloping. So the first shoulder, then you have a head, rally, second shoulder, Then there is a breakout over here. After the breakout, price consolidated for a few days. Later on, what happened was that there was heavy consolidation. So in this particular case, even after the breakout, price was consolidating for a very long period of time. So nothing much happened. What you could do is, over the weekend or over the coming days, you could practice this for yourself. So by the time of next webinar, you could access charts across various time frames to spot each of the 6 patterns that we discussed. They appear quite frequently. So practicing would help you understand how the pattern appears and works out on a real-time chart. So that is something that I would highly recommend. Given the shortage of time, we have already run out of time, so I don't have the time to look at the patterns on a real-time basis. But that is something that I would suggest you to do over the coming week. So that's it from my end. With that, we end today's webinar. I'll just take a couple of minutes, maybe to take a few questions. There are a lot of questions, as I can see. We'll just take a few questions given the shortage of time. Recording, yes, you'll get a recording of this webinar. It will be uploaded on our FIRE's website. Again, about the time frame, one question that I can see is about the time frame. You can use it across time frames, as I said during the webinar. It doesn't matter. Please repeat the target. A few of the questions, because we are running out of time, what you could do is, you could kind of revisit the webinar again when it's uploaded on our portal and see, how to calculate the price targets. I guess that's it. That's it. What you could do is, because of the shortage of time, I'm quite active on Twitter. This is my Twitter handle. You could follow me on Twitter, and in case you have any questions relating to what we discussed today, you could post those questions on my Twitter handle, and I'll address them as soon as I can. That's it. We have run out of time. We are already 15 minutes late. So with that, we'll end today's webinar. And in the next webinar, we'll talk about several other patterns, some of which are more complex than what we discussed today. So I hope to see you again this time next week at 4 p.m. probably. So we'll schedule, we will release the details of our second webinar soon enough. So that's it from my end. Thank you very much for your participation today. Have a great weekend. Happy trading. That's it, Shubham. I think we can conclude the webinar.